I would like to do a really short presentation on Darwin's natural selection. So I'm going to share with you a whiteboard. And I want you to just take a look through your memory for a minute here and see what you can remember about natural selection. Can you chat to me anything that you might recall? There are 5 steps. You learned them as freshmen. You may not remember all of them now, but is there something you can remember? What is one of these steps? Definitely. Survival of the fittest. Good for you for remembering that. That is the one that most people remember. Okay. It turns out that that one goes here. Survival of the fittest is the concept that stays in people's minds the most about Darwin's mechanism of natural selection. And that's fine. That's a good one to remember. It is interesting, though, because it turns out Darwin actually never used that term. His words were differential reproduction, which I know sound as sexy as survival of the fittest, but actually differential reproduction describes it a little bit more accurately. But let me go back to the beginning. The very first thing that Darwin noticed, that he wrote down as a first step or as a foundational fact of natural selection, is that variation, right, differences in a population, variation already exists in a population, right? The variation is already there. So in a population of rock pocket mice, for example, there are some mice who have undergone or who are descendants of the one mouse that mutated and got dark fur. So now there are some mice that are born dark and some that are born light colored. That's already there. Okay, that variation is there. Darwin didn't know anything about mutations, but we know that, we can insert that now and say that we know the modern idea, the modern cause for variation, much of it is mutation. Okay. So then the second step is that there is, and this is something that Darwin noticed himself, there is an overproduction of offspring. Overproduction of offspring. Which kind of means that there are too many babies born to be able to survive, which sets up a situation of competition. Between members of a population, right? Members of the population. There's too many mice born in any one generation to all be able to survive, right? So they're competing each other. Who's going to get picked off by the hawks and who are not, right? So then, with those 3 steps kind of setting up the situation, now you have survival of the fittest, which means that the individuals best adapted, right? Best adapted survive, and this is key, they survive to reproduce. They're the ones that reproduce the next generation. So that's why differential reproduction is really a better way to describe this than survival of the fittest, right? Being fittest doesn't necessarily mean you're the strongest and the fastest. Being fittest in the case of these rock pocket mice means you're the right color to be camouflaged and your brethren was not, right? So this little guy, if he's born on black lava flow desert, he's going to get picked off by the owl. Eek! Right? Okay. This one, though, he's already dark, the same color. He's going to go and get to make babies, right? Because he's more fit, more reproductively fit, better adapted to the particular area that he's born into. This poor little guy cannot decide, oh my gosh, I'm the wrong color. I have to change color and mutate right now. Nope, not going to work, okay? So whatever the mouse is born into, that's going to affect his fate or her fate. Okay, and finally, that last step is that it is the population, right? The population slowly changes over generations, right? Over generations, where that one original mutation in that one lucky mouse that was born a better color to avoid the predation by the hawks and the owls, that mouse survived and its progeny increased and increased and increased until more of the population on those black lava flows were dark than they were light. So remember that it is the population or the makeup of the population that changes, not the individual, right? Individual does not evolve. The population does, or the makeup, the percentage of the population that's dark fur versus light fur. That's what changes, right? Okay, and it depends on the mutations that occur and whether they cause an advantage for the animal or the plant or not, right? Okay, any questions about that? That's going to figure into the last question that you answer. You need to be able to understand how this all works and to apply it to the rock pocket mouse population to really get a good grade on the final answer on this activity. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording.